Good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Bolt, Vice President for Advancement here at UNLV, and we have an exciting program for you. As we look at today, it's a real milestone for UNLV. We're going to celebrate what I think is the most important partnership that I have seen at my time here at UNLV, and maybe in even the time of Carol and our other Pat and our other presidents here. This is just so exciting. It's a partnership that we've created that's really going to transform UNLV. It will transform our community. And I'm so happy to see all of you here. This is just terrific. It is now my pleasure to introduce our president. Now, before I do that, I want you to know that our president helped create the Lincy Institute, of course, with wonderful collaboration from the Lincy Foundation. And while he was provost, it took him about a year to do this. He was our university leader on this project. He is Neil Samatras, UNLV's 9th president. Neil.
Well, Bill's being modest. He had a pretty major role, too. But what a wonderful crowd of people, friends and family, supporters, community members. I couldn't be more pleased to welcome you here today because I think it's just a great day for the university and it's a great day for Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. So all of you, thank you so much for being here. We have a major announcement to make today, and it's not much of a secret anymore, although I've been trying to keep it a secret unsuccessfully. And I've had some good help in making sure it wasn't much of a secret. We have some really special guests here today. And so before I go much further, I'd like to make sure I introduce those of us first who are on the platform with you, starting, of course, with the Honorable Harry Reid, United States Senate Majority Leader. We're so pleased and honored that you're here. Of course, none of this would have happened without the Lincy Foundation, so I want to introduce Mr. Tony Mandikic, Chairman of the Lincy Foundation. Someone who has done almost untold good in the community, and of course, someone who almost needs no introduction, the unsinkable Poonam Mathur, Vice President of Human Resources with NV Energy. I'd also like to extend a very special welcome to the representatives of the Lincy Foundation. That would be Jeff Wilkins and Lindy Schumacher, partners in crime. And, of course, the Honorable Shelley Berkeley, who is here with us today. Not only a United States Congresswoman, but a UNLV alumna. Thank you, Shelley. Now, she has brought with her today a proclamation to celebrate today's announcement, and I would love to invite you up to the podium to offer your proclamation.
I don't want any of you to think that I actually bring these proclamations to be invited up. I'm sure I would have been anyway. I will be brief because the main event is coming. Needless to say, a special thank you to Senator Harry Reid, who does a remarkable job for each and every one of us every day of his life. I don't know a senator that works harder. As President Neal stated, I am a very proud alum of UNLV. I wore my class ring today as a symbol of my support for this institution. If there wasn't a school to go to here in Southern Nevada, I guarantee I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas provides educational opportunity for thousands and thousands of Southern Nevadans and others across this country and this planet, and provides the best educational opportunities at the most affordable price anywhere, anyhow. And I've often said this at Alumni Association events. For me, being the first person in my family to go to college, UNLV might as well have been Harvard in my family. There was great pride when I started here at Nevada Southern University that my parents had a daughter that was going to college. But it might as well have been Harvard, because in the 11 years that I have been in Congress, the education that I received here at UNLV has served me well, and I can say without fear of contradiction, nobody has ever outworked me or outdebated me or outknown the issues than me, and that's because I'm an alum of UNLV. I have wanted to thank Kirk Kerkorian for everything he has done for my community for as long as I can remember. And I've seen him intermittently through the years. I'm sure he may know who I am, perhaps by reputation or by sight, but we've never had the conversation that I'm hoping to have with him someday, where I can thank him from the bottom of my heart for the remarkable contributions he has made to my hometown and for the people that I represent. There are 3 indicators of success when you're an adult, and they start very much when you're a child. One of them is good health care, and we're working on that right now in Washington. Number 2 is good nutrition. And with the Lincy Foundation support for 3 Square, they are providing good nutrition for children so that their little brains and their little tummies can be filled. And now, when it comes to everything they've done for education, which is the 3rd leading indicator of success in later life, they are second to none when it comes to supporting education in this community. And today is certainly an example of his generosity and largesse, and more than that, his heart, which is in the right place at the right time, always. So it gives me tremendous pride, and I know what a privilege it is, to present this certificate of congressional recognition to the Lincy Foundation in recognition of their contributions and support to establish the Lincy Institute at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Thousands and thousands and thousands of Nevadans will be benefited by this extraordinary gift. And on behalf of all of them, past, present, and future, I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Berkeley. That was moving, and you have been here long enough and part of this community long enough that your words are very special to us. I would like to say that I believe Matt Morris from Congressman Heller's office is here. Matt? I could be wrong. He is here. Matt, I just want you to stand up and give a shout out. Matt has brought with him a certificate of recognition for the university on behalf of Congressman Heller in appreciation of the foundation of the Lincy Institution. We're very thankful for that. And I note that we also have a certificate of recognition from the governor's office to congratulate us on the founding of the Lincy Institute. So lest you think this is a Las Vegas thing, it would certainly appear to be much broader and deeper in its reach and impact, and I do believe it has the potential to transform the state through the recognition of the many people who have come here today. At this time, and I'll be doing introductions through the day, it's important that we recognize that the Nevada system of higher education is supported by an elected Board of Regents. And our regents care deeply about the progress of our institutions and are here with us today in some force to help celebrate this wonderful occasion. I'd like to ask if you would quickly stand and be recognized. Regent Cobb. Regent Kevin Page. Regent Mike Wixom. Former Regent Thalia Dondero. And I'm hoping Regent Cedric Creer is here, but I haven't seen him yet. I know he wanted to be. And of course, finally, the chairman of the Board of Regents, James Dean Levitt, who I'd like to invite forward to say a few words.
What a special day this is. It is absolutely an honor and a privilege to be here representing the Board of Regents. First of all, thank you so much to the Lindy Foundation. How fantastic. I mean, how fantastic. Now, a couple of you caught that. That was for Lindy. That was a joke. And maybe we should call it the Lindy Foundation. I will correct it. It is the Lincy Foundation. Now, President Smotrisk, you forgot one thing. You don't do it very often. And Congressman Berkeley, you forgot one thing. We thought that everything you learned in Congress came from your service as a member of the Board of Regents. Maybe I should stop now. Senator Reed, thank you so much. Congressman Berkeley, thank you so much. This gift is about changing lives today and tomorrow. It's social services, it's health care, it's education, and I think Senator Kennedy is probably watching today, and he is probably pleased with what we're doing here today. To the extended UNLV family, we are so proud as a board. We're so proud of this gift. We are so proud of who we just brought you, President Smotrisk, to take UNLV to that next level. The excitement on campus is absolutely palpable. We have brought you the right person at the right time. With his wife at his side, they are an absolutely dynamic duo. To President Harder, President Beppler, I mean, there are people in this room that have given the majority of their professional lives. Again, this is all about changing lives, and Chancellor Claich and I are going to spend the next 2 years educating our governor that education is about changing lives and that we can't sacrifice the future of the state. President Smotrisk, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today. My fellow regents, we are so proud to be an elected board. We are so proud to have the opportunity to perform the public service that we do. It never feels like work. It's an absolute joy, and this is a fantastic partnership, and it's just the beginning of many more things that we'll be announcing in the near future. So again, thank you, and we're so proud.
Also joining us today, and thank you very much, Chairman Levitt. Also joining us today, we have the Chancellor of the Nevada State Higher Education System, Dan Claich. We have State Senate Majority Leader Stephen Horsford. We have Barbara, boy, my eyes are getting old here. Barbara Legevsky. Barbara Sagaski. See, I told you I can't read. Barbara Sagaski. I'm so sorry, Barbara. Senator Bob Coffin. Maggie Carlton. And William Horn. And just for effect, Barbara Sagaski. Okay. I'd also like to say, while James Dean gave them a quick introduction, that we're very happy to have with us here two of our past presidents, President Emerita Carol Harder, and Pat Goodall, who served so ably and so well here, too. Now, I don't want to forget the people who actually make things happen. And so I want to give very quick thank yous to Lucy Klinkhammer, Skylar Richards, Tori, and I'm forgetting somebody, but I'll remember and then be embarrassed in a moment. Nancy Flagg, and of course Nancy Strauss, and all the others who worked so hard to put this complex event together. Thank you, Mike. Because, believe it or not, these things just don't happen all by themselves. I'd also like to welcome and ask if you'll rise to be recognized members of the UNLV Foundation Board and major university contributors. Thank you. We'll be calling on you shortly. Our Alumni Association board members and college chapter presidents who are here, please stand. They're standing in the back. And there are here today many representatives from the various community partners that we have in nonprofit organizations throughout the Valley. But of those, I would like to specifically recognize that we have the president of the board and we have the superintendent of Clark County School District with us here, Walt Rolfus and Terry. And as you all know, Walt and I were bonded by near-death experiences. I have a script here, but I'm going to go off script just a bit. Today is one of those game-changing days for the university. It's a special time. It's an incredible opportunity. And sometimes out of what seems to be chaos, something beautiful can be born. And I actually think that the fruits of a year's labor, working so hard with Jeff and with Lindy, with Bill Bolt, to create a vision that I think surprised all of us, has been one of the most single gratifying experiences of my professional life. Now, I'm supposed to talk about how we're 51 years old and, we do a wonderful job with teaching and research, but the people in this room know that. We know we're the place to go in town. They know that we're doing the hard work of higher education here every day. So let's talk just a little bit about how this gift actually came to be, because I think praise where praise is due is very important. About a year ago, a little over a year ago, Bill Bolt and I had a wonderful meeting, and Bill said, Neil, there's this foundation. I think they want to give us a gift. I don't know, it might be a mill. And I was like, I'm all over it. Okay, I'm there. And, maybe it's in education, maybe it's in health. We're not quite sure what it's going to do. And so we got there kind of thinking, okay, there's this project or that project. And Lindy and Jeff said, well, we've heard a lot about, UNLV lately. We've been out in the community, and everywhere we turn, we find faculty members, staff members, alumni of the university very deeply engaged, doing wonderful work with community partners who make a difference. And you haven't put this together yet. And you were right, we hadn't. And so while we began to talk about these projects here and there, Lindy kind of interrupts and goes, no. We think that we have a special opportunity. We have an opportunity to put together all of the great things that you do with the community into a package that leverages our partnerships with nonprofits in this region while simultaneously celebrating the research of the faculty and your involvement with these groups. We want to put something big together. Well, after I stopped breathing for a little while, and I said, we can do that. We can do that. And we began to talk, and we brainstormed. And the brainstorming went on for a while, but what we realized is that many things had started to come together. We just completed a strategic plan. And the plan said, we're going to be not just a university in the community, we're going to be a university that's part of the community, that engages deeply, because we believe that by solving our problems, we're addressing global issues. We're going to be a community that cares about the human capital issues of this region. And if any of you have read a report that came out from a very prestigious think tank back in the East, a while back, there was a report called Megacities of the Intermountain West. And they said, Vegas needs to focus on some things, as does much of the Intermountain West. They need to focus on hard infrastructure issues, building a sustaining structure for a future in this state. They need to focus on economic diversification and get more research from the universities out into the community. And we said, yeah, we're ready to do that. But they also said, in an instant city, growing very, very quickly, some issues have not yet caught up to where they need to be for a city of this size and prominence, and those include areas in health, education, social systems, and policy development. And so as we were talking, we realized that celebrating what we did to promote and build the human capital of this region was the most profound thing we could do as a partnership between the Lincy Foundation and UNLV. And that, by golly, is what we did. We wrote and wrote and wrote until finally we got it right. And I'll say it was an utter collaboration. And through that period, we discovered the capacity of the university to do good, and we developed a vision which I believe really will create not just a welcoming environment, but a genuine two-way gateway between the university and the community that will allow us to inject the best research and understandings of how to solve tough human problems into this region, but will in turn support partnerships that are meaningful and expand the capacity of the people who are having impact in our community. And that is what we are really excited about doing. And I'll tell you, it's not just a few administrators or the people in the foundation who are excited. Our faculty are deeply excited about this opportunity. There's a whole row of deans back here, who I'll introduce later, who have come here because they recognize and see themselves in the picture that is being painted by a Lincy Institute for Community and Urban Research and Analysis. This is an exciting, exciting moment. But there were a couple times when we were worried about if we could take this to the finish line. And we had a partner in helping us to carry it the last few yards. And so today, the Lincy Institute, the Lincy Foundation, and the university really would like to acknowledge the man who's done so much for the university in this state, Senator Harry Reid, who demonstrates time and again that he has passion for higher education, a commitment to Nevada, and a sustaining vision that is improving our state and region. And so we need to thank you so much for what you have done and what you are doing. We will ask you up in a moment. But there's a few other people who really want to celebrate what we have brought here. We've talked a little bit about what the Lincy Institute will do. For those of you who don't know, it will be housed in what might be one of the finest buildings ever put on a college campus from a sustainability perspective. It will be in the Greenspun College of Urban Affairs, aptly named. Brian, you want to stand up and give a wave? And we believe that this institute, which will be co-located with another institute shortly to be discussed, will begin to transform UNLV in deep and profound ways that shape our future for a long time to come, and will make sure that we continue to contribute to this community, which deserves every bit of support the university can bring. Now, since I've been talking about community partners, we had to bring one of the most terrific community partners that this city has ever known to speak on behalf of the greater community, a resident, a volunteer, a parent who can tell you what this can mean from her perspective. We've invited Poonam Mather to provide further context to this great endeavor.
What a morning. I say to you, Shelley Berkeley, every time I hear you speak, I learn a lot. Today it is that there's a lot of finesse in simply demonstrating commitment for an institution by wearing a class ring. I just thought I should just deck it out head to toe, so I will strive for greater finesse. So thank you. Thank you for making me better. I'm completely struck as I look around the room. If you are a member of the community, that is, if you are a tireless community angel out there in the trenches every day lifting lives and spirits, if you are an educator, the noble of all professions, if you're an educator, I want you to stand up. If you are an elected official giving selflessly of your time and energy to make our community a better place, I'd like you to stand up. If you're a photographer, I'd like you to stand up. I just want, if I could ask you all to stand up, members of the community. That's, it's astonishing, and that's really, in addition to the fact that I was struck sitting up here listening to the speakers, I was really quite awe-inspired looking out at all of the faces. You never had a say in who would make any remarks on behalf of the community, but I am humbled and honored by the confidence you place in me. 27 years is how long I've lived in this community. And I think it was about 15 years ago when Jan Jones was mayor of Las Vegas. She had a fitting description, I think, that she used to use to describe where we were as a community. She referred to us as a ganglion teenager, continuing to make the observation that while our body had grown very quickly overnight, we were a ganglion teenager, our coordination had not caught up. We were a bit too fearless. We were a bit too bold. We were certainly very stubborn. We were a little bit gawky. We were very self-absorbed. And I thought it was profound because it described simultaneously, it heralded the best of us, that is, healthy growth. But it also signaled and acknowledged the greatest challenges that we face. Today actually feels to me like a rite of passage for us as a community. There is a new possibility that is getting declared for our future. And I look at the Lincy Foundation and its benefactor, Kurt Krikorian. This is a foundation and a man who have watched us for the last 40 years. He's seen us go from wiggly, wobbly legs into adolescence. And at every step of our evolution, he's been there with the right belief, the right challenge, and the right action. And today simply reflects yet another step in a magnificent 40-year demonstration of confidence in our community by this foundation. It's extraordinary. Mackenzie, can I put you up? Would you come up here, honey? And you're allowed to say no if you wish. This is the smartest member of Jeff Wilkins' family. And I'd like you to meet my new friend, Mackenzie. I would say on behalf of Mackenzie, and certainly on behalf of a community, there is no greater faith that you can place in us than believing in us. There is nothing that will carry us as far as your belief and confidence in us. So I would say to the Lincy Foundation, on behalf of the community, thank you for the ultimate belief in us. And then we're staying on a university campus. She's doing fine. She's staying. Come on up here. Shimmy up to the podium. Hey, there we go. She doesn't start fourth grade till next month, so we've got a couple of days. We're on a campus. I'm going to talk about a degree that really matters. And the degree that I want to talk about today is the degree that is 212. And let me tell you why I think that's important. For us as a community, it's heating up. It's heating up. Our challenges are growing. The economy has not been cooperating, nor does it look like there will be any new waves of opportunity that will carry us out of this ditch over the next few years. The heat is turned up. This morning, as we all drove here, little children crossed across crosswalks to get to school in public schools. Almost half of those children live in poverty. Half of those children will receive a free and reduced meal today. That's unconscionable, and I think it hurts us all. I look at little children who are in school today and don't operate with any dreams to lift them, that have no sense of their own possibilities and certainly no drive to see how far they get, and that's unconscionable. I think of all the people who are uninsured and are physically in pain today and have no option, no possibility, no relief from that. That's hot, but what it is 211 degrees. And the reason I mentioned 211 is that is the temperature where water is simply hot. That's all it is, hot. You add that extra degree, 212, you create boiling water, which creates steam, which can power a locomotive. The gift you give and the institute you founded is our 212th degree. And I will tell you, as nonprofit leaders, as for-profit employee groups, as elected officials, as beautiful 9-year-olds, we stand so grateful for the gift, and we look forward to making the very best out of it. Because 212 means we will create the steam to power a locomotive. And it's a locomotive to eradicate hunger. And it's a locomotive to give hope to all people in crisis. It is a locomotive to inspire all of us to get beyond the bounds of our turf and the limits of our own thinking. It's an opportunity to come together, to collaborate, to go dream bigger and achieve much, much more. As a 27-year resident, as a proud, I knew you were way too smart to fall for that. See, I didn't even go there. As an incredibly proud mother of 3, as a proud member of the NV Energy public sector family, as a proud member of 3 Square and its board of trustees, I just would acknowledge that the greatest compliment you pay is in your belief in us as people. We will not let you down. Thank you for giving us the gift of our 212th degree. Thank you.
I'm always so darn inspired after Poonam talks that I kind of forget what I'm doing. That was just wonderful. And if we can be, now I'm a scientist, Poonam, so I think we just got to the 100th degree, centigrade. Okay. But over the past several months, I've had a chance to work, as I've said, with so many of the good people from the Lincy Foundation. And I've already said today that the partnership has been deep, and I believe it will be abiding. But, you know, there are those who said, Neil, you need to create a picture of who this will help here in some kind of concrete way. And so I want to do the standing up game as well. Except I really want you to stand up. Because all of us are touched in this community by the many, many needs that are out there that aren't being met, as you stated so eloquently. So, do you know anyone who has a special needs child? If you do, stand up. Wow. Do you know someone who has lost a job, is living in poverty, and has trouble sending their kids to school? Do you know a family member or a colleague who's been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness and is having trouble finding medical care? I could go on, but you're all standing up already. Every one of us in this room is impacted by the gaps that we have left behind as we've grown as a city. And so I'm going to say to all of you, we will stand together to fill those gaps. We will stand together to support the Lincy Institute, and we will stand in appreciation for the generous and caring support that has been provided by the Lincy Foundation to help get us to the 212th degree. You may sit now. And now it's time to get on to the main show. I'd like to let the person who really helps to manage so much goodness from the Lincy Foundation come up and say a few words for us. It's my distinct pleasure to invite Mr. Tony Mandikik to the stage to express the view from the Lincy Foundation.
Thank you very much for allowing us to be here. It is a pleasure to acknowledge, on behalf of Mr. Krikorian and his Lincy Foundation, a friendship that has lasted over 40 years with Senator Reed. We are deeply grateful to him for the many things he's done for us. Senator from Nevada, Senate Majority Leader, we thank you. We thank you for the gifts you've given us in trying to make a commitment to improve the quality of life of the people of Nevada. It is my pleasure on behalf of the Lincy Foundation to announce in your honor a gift of $14 million to UNLV. Thank you. I'd like to, with your patience, invite someone who can speak to some of the things that we have done. Mr. Jim Murin, CEO of MGM Mirage. Jim, would you please come up?
Well, good morning, everyone. How you all doing? Boy, we need a bigger room next time, huh? It's,
By the way, those of you in the back, there are seats up here. Please feel free to
yeah, this is like a classroom. No one wants to sit in the front. Well, I didn't know I was going to be invited to an aerobic event, but thank you for the up and down all day. I didn't get my workout in yet. I'm incredibly proud to be here and to talk a little bit about what I see happening in our community and how the Lincy Institute and you all can be a part of that. Of course, we're here in a great university, and of course, no community, as my friend Brian just mentioned to me before the meeting, could be great without a great university. And so I'm honored to be here at UNLV. So I have to say thank you very much for having me here at UNLV. This is a great university. I sent my 11-year-old son to school this morning for his first day of school. And he dreaded the day. He doesn't like being in school initially, and then he gets worked up into it. But he always has to do, and I recall this as a child, a homework assignment over the summer. And basically, what did I do during my summer vacation? So I thought about that as I'm here today, and I reflected upon this past summer And I want to give you some of my thoughts of how we got where we are. It's a pretty rugged time, both in the U.S. economy and here in Las Vegas. And we wonder really, how did this all happen? And I have a few thoughts. As you probably are aware, the U.S. economy, and certainly here in Las Vegas, is built on the backs of the consumer. The consumer has been stretched to a point that they have not seen since World War II. We've been living beyond our means as individuals, as companies, and as a federal government. We have taken on too much debt. Our saving rates have plummeted. And, of course, the result has been a profound recession. This began really over a year ago, but about a year ago, it really reached a point where it got the attention of the world. Financial markets ground to a halt. The banks stopped lending. Unemployment soared, especially here in our valley. People lost their houses, lost their jobs. People went hungry. A community that has been built on growth and has been built on the consumer was in dire trouble. People stopped traveling. People spent less. And you've seen the result. We have men and women are out of work. Many of us have lost their homes. People are hungry. And, of course, when you think about that, you say, who gets hurt the most? Who is hurt the greatest? And, of course, it's the most vulnerable. It's the elderly. It's the children. It's the sick. It's the people that need our help. At a time when help doesn't seem as attainable as it has been in the past. Fundraising is down dramatically, both here at UNLV, and every nonprofit has the same story. It almost seems overwhelming sometimes. And I've been here 11 years, and I've felt this way for a while. And every time I feel that things have gotten too big, the problems are too huge for any community to grapple with, along comes a hero. And there have been so many in our community. So many leaders that have inspired us to do what we can do, to be the best that we can be in this community here. And I think of the Greenspun family, and the Boyd family, and the Hilton family. I think of the Fertittas. I think of the men and women that have given so much of themselves, of their financial resources, of their intellect, of their time. And, of course, of all those heroes, and all of them are mine, one stands a bit apart for me, and that is Kirk Kerkorian. Now, I've heard of this man for many years. I was on Wall Street for a long time. I was one of those bad guys, right? But I was there for 14 years, and I'd heard of a man, but I did not know him. And I'm incredibly honored to say today that I've gotten to know him quite well over the last 11 years. And he personifies what is the best of all of us, an unconditional love for a community, an unconditional yes for whatever the cause is. Hundreds and hundreds of causes, hundreds of millions of dollars have been granted and given into our community because of Kirk Kerkorian and the Lincy Foundation. He seeks no recognition. He doesn't even want to be here, and he's not. He doesn't want to be recognized for what he does. He gives in the most selfless way because he can, and because he wants to, and because he knows it's important. I think about that, and as I think about the challenges that we have, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem so overwhelming, at least to me. I know that when there are men and women like him, and foundations like the Lincy Foundation, and people that rally around causes, those heroes inspire. They've inspired me, they've inspired my family, and I think you could all say that they've inspired you all as well. Heroes lead. We need to follow. We need to be the leaders of our next generation. We need to take the mantle that has been passed to us and move it forward. We do have many challenges. but things are getting better. I see that in our business, and that's important to this community. We are the largest taxpayer in the state. We are the largest employer in the state. It's because of us that 10,000 people will be working in December that are not working today when we open up City Center. It is because of us, I believe, that we're going to lead this community out of its 2-year decline in visitation, and visitation will be up next year. And it is because of the men and women that work at MGM Mirage and all of the people in the hospitality industry working together that will drive our volumes and our revenues up next year, employing more and more people, getting people back to work, improving the financial condition of this community that so desperately needs it. And it's because of all of you working with all of us that we can get back to the job of making things better, getting back to the job of partnering with the public sector, with the private sector, and the nonprofits to make our community better than it is today. None of us, if we were candid with ourselves, could say that this community is all it should be. We cannot say that education is where we want it to be. We cannot say that the medical community is right where it needs to be. We couldn't say that all the cultural opportunities are available to us that should be in a community of our size. But all of that is possible if you have those heroes that inspire heroes. And so on behalf of our company, on behalf of someone who has lived here, and in seeing the selfless generosity of a man who personifies the best of all of us, I want to say that I'm extraordinarily proud to be one part of a community that's on the upswing. And I will promise you, because of the Lincy Foundation and the Lincy Institute, that our company at MGM Mirage will be even more engaged, more important, and more outreaching than we have even been in the past. And I can promise you that these challenges that we see are not as insurmountable as we thought. And it's because of the men and women that have inspired all of us. And for that, I want to thank a man that has made a lot of this possible, not only Mr. Krikorian, but Senator Harry Reid. Senator Harry Reid knows that I've been a Republican all my life. Senator Harry Reid knows that I voted for Ronald Reagan in 1980 in my first presidential election. But Senator Reid also knows what is important to our community. And I know what's important to our community. And what's important to our community is to have heroes like Senator Harry Reid in Washington as the Senate Majority Leader, fighting the good fight, bringing money and resources back to the small state of Nevada. And for that, he has got our unconditional support. And I thank you very much, Senator Reid.
And at this time, I would like to show the Senator, with the help of Tony and Jim and Poonam, the wonderful memento of this moment that was created by this generous gift. Tony, Jim, why don't you do the honors and take off the cover?
Ready? Right.
Try to do this with my back turned and speak loudly enough for you to hear. The Lincy Foundation and the University of Nevada at Las Vegas honor Harry Reid, Majority Leader of the United States Senate, in recognition of his extraordinary service and innovative community leadership in the creation of the Lincy Institute. The Lincy Foundation and UNLV are deeply indebted to Senator Reid for his involvement and investment in the community and his commitment and dedication to Nevada.
Well, I should say Mr. President, and Poonam, I have a little different take on this. You're talking about how hot it is. I think it's pretty cool. I think this is all pretty cool. On a very serious vein, early this morning I talked to Vicki Kennedy and the governor of Massachusetts. And so this is a wonderful celebration. I'm so glad to be here. But I have such wonderful memories of my service with Ted Kennedy. It seems almost impossible that I could go from founding the first Young Democrats Club at Utah State University, and I got a letter between the time that President Kennedy had been elected and before he was inaugurated. He sent me a letter. And as you come into my Capitol office, it's on the wall there, a little letter that I kept all these years. And very often, Ted would come in as he came into my office and look at that. So we're going to miss him. He was really quite an interesting man. He was a deal maker. He was the epitome of what legislation is, the art of compromise. And so I have a heavy heart, but we knew how ill he had been, and I knew the end was coming. We've known it for a couple of months. When Kirk Kerkorian was a 9-year-old boy, he started selling newspapers and taking any odd job he could find, not to buy himself a new bicycle or to go to movies, but to help his family. What a family man he is. I had the good fortune to do legal work for mostly his brother. Kirk and I have known each other going back into the 60s, but I did everything for his brother. His name was Nish Kerkorian. He was my kind of guy. He was a prize fighter. He was as smart as his brother. And of course, his wonderful sister, Rose, is 98 years old, still drives to and from wherever she wants to go, lives alone. He's a family man. I'm grateful to be associated with this gift to UNLV. Kirk's generosity is and will always be legendary. Man's given away his own money, almost $1 billion. And Kirk Kerkorian reminds me of my wife Landra, and I'll tell you why. Studies have shown when someone is born shy, they will remain shy the rest of their life. My wife is a shy person. She can speak in front of a crowd. She doesn't like to, but she will. Kirk Kerkorian's the same way. Kirk is a shy man, always has been. I've known him for all these many years. He stays out of the limelight. When I have the good fortune of going to a fight with Kirk, where does Burton Brown and Kirk Kerkorian want to sit? I want to be down where the action is, but Kirk Kerkorian wants to be away from. He pays for his ticket himself. He sits up about 15 or 20 rows to watch the fights. In one of his massive properties, when he comes to buy or do anything, he pays for it himself. There are no comps in his life for him. He's not here because he doesn't want to be here. He wouldn't be here. This isn't who he is. I read in the stuff that Kirk Kerkorian might be here. I knew there was not a chance that he would be here. Kirk Kerkorian and the Lincy Foundation are a model of humanitarianism. He's never forgotten his roots. His parents immigrated from Armenia. And the Lincy Foundation started when that devastating earthquake occurred in Armenia. I was there shortly thereafter and saw the devastation. Schools crushed, tens of thousands of people killed. And that was the beginning of the Lincy Foundation. This institute here, we've already heard, will help Nevadans live healthier lives, help them get jobs in many instances. More kids will get the tools they need to thrive as they grow, and more adults will get the tools they need to thrive as they enter the workplace. Education, healthcare, public policy, Poonam laid it out very well. All recognize the biggest impact we can make today is by preparing for tomorrow. This institute will connect this terrific university that I have had close to my heart for a long, long time, because my good wife also went to Nevada Southern, and she was a cheerleader. And I say they used to win some games in those days. This institute will connect this university with this terrific community. It's a natural continuation of Kirk Kerkorian's long and significant record of philanthropy, of kindness, generosity, that will benefit future generations for generations to come. Kirk has often been called a self-made man by others. But that doesn't describe Kirk Kerkorian. It's not about himself. It's about the community he loves and the concerns to which he is committed. This self-made man didn't just make it so that his own self was better. He made it so that all of our lives are better. So, what a pleasure to this kid from Searchlight to be able to stand before all of you and say, yeah, I knew Ted Kennedy. And to stand before you and say, yes, I know Kirk Kerkorian. I talk to him at least once every 6 weeks. What a pleasure it is for me to know this wonderful man, to talk to him. We don't talk about business. That's left for Jim Murin and others. But we talk about a lot of things that we have gone through and talked about. So this legacy of Kirk Kerkorian will fuel the Lincy Institute. Again, I'm glad to be part of this wonderful day.
Well, again, I don't think I could say anything that hasn't been said better by some of the marvelous people on this stage and by Jim. I thank you all so much. But before we go, I'd just like to recognize, and I'm going to do this very quickly because I understand everyone's on a short time frame, the deans of the university. Would you stand and be recognized? And our university administration, administrators, and finally, university faculty and staff. Please stand up and let us thank you for the roles you will be playing in this. I once again want to recognize that many, many, many people will be working on this in partnership. Today, in this room, there are no barriers between the university and the community. Let's keep it that way and keep moving forward. And once again, thank you so much to the Lincy Foundation for this marvelous, marvelous gift. And let's continue to come together to celebrate the progress of the Institute. Thank you all so much for coming.